Alright, in this video we're going to show you how to burn a screen with the CTS machine. Right now we're looking at the agenda, and the design that we've chosen to work on is this one right here, the Lost Bros Greetings from the Salem Tee. I'm going to click the mock just to see how many colors it is. This has 7 colors, well 7 screens. We're going to start with the base. So the first thing you want to do is on the bottom bar here, you want to click on Print Production Screen. This is the RIP program. Now, these are files that have already been dropped by art production team. They have to transfer an art file into the CTS hot folder, and then once it goes through the hot folder, it comes through this RIP program, and then it generates all the different screens that we need to burn. And as I click through them, you can see them changing. So each color is going to have a different area that will print in black ink on each different screen. So the first one we're going to do is the base screen. And if you click this little magnifying glass right here, it'll allow you to zoom in to see what kind of detail you have in the screen. Typically on a base we would use a 110, but for something like this, because there's halftones, we might need to try a 160 and even possibly a 200 or 255, depending on if we're not getting those details. But usually for something like this that has a pretty big coverage area, there are halftones, but there's a lot of area that you want to be kind of heavy. We'll probably start with 160, test it out. Just below here, before we do anything, we've written down a couple different settings here. These are exposure times based off of whatever mesh screen we choose. Blue, that's our standard emulsion that we're using on most of our plastisol screens. This pink diazo is what we use for our water-based screens, or anything that has discharge, or anything that is using DS or digital squeegee printed screens. We're using diazo, but most of what we're using is this right here. So this, if we tested it on a 160, we're going to be exposing for around 12 seconds. Once we rinse it out, we'll see if all the detail came out. But for now, I'm going to show you how to burn the screen. So there are a couple ways you can do this. You can either click on the main top line here and press print. When you do that, it will queue up each from top to bottom automatically as you burn them. But if you just want to burn one of these layers, like let's say right now we just want to burn the base, we can click on the actual base layer and then press print, and it'll only queue that individual screen up. So I'm going to hit print. It's going to send it through the RIP, and there's a red light back here. See how it just turned red? That means it's actually ready for you to print the screen, but we're going to go ahead and load the screen first. So over here we have all of our screens separated by mesh type, and you can see right there that's a 156. That's good. And then we're going to go in here and load it up into the machine. There are 3 points that the screen needs to line up to. So first, you can see that she inserted the screen down underneath this bracket here. And then once the top clears this edge, it actually goes in underneath this flap right here. Can you do that one more time so we can show that? Yeah, so the bottom goes in first, push it, and then it slides underneath. And then there are 3 points, which are referred to as tri-lock, that the screen needs to make sure it's touching and it's all the way flush. So we usually give it a tug right here, tug here, and then also pulling it back this way, so to make sure everything is touching. So now that the screen is flush, we're going to check the exposure time. So let's go. And actually here you can see tri-sync. See how all three of these green lights are on? That means that all 3 points of the screen are touching. It should be in perfect registration. So right here, exposure time. Let's just double check. 156 says 12 seconds. We're good to go. We already have 12 here, but if we wanted to change it, all you have to do is hit that, and then you can type in whatever you want and then hit enter, but it's already at 12, so we're good to go. And all we have to do now is press this go button. So at this point, the machine is kind of on auto. It'll print the design, and after it prints the design, it'll move to the back portion of the unit, which is the exposure unit back there, and it'll expose it for 12 seconds. Once it comes out after being exposed, we're just going to give it a quick little visual inspection just to make sure that there's no lines in the print, no gaps in the print, and also that there's no random ink splotches or anything like that. Usually throughout the day, if we're keeping consistent with how we're using it and we're cleaning it, we don't have that type of an issue, but it is something to look out for. We've been using this all morning and all afternoon, so I don't think we'll have any issues right now. So once it finishes printing, you can actually see it slide back there and it'll expose it. So we'll do a quick little inspection. We can see all of our halftones. I don't see any lines or gaps in the print. So we can take that to our rinse booth and make sure that all the detail came out correctly, but that is ready to go.